There's a new me coming out, and I just have to live, and I wanna give. I'm completely positive. I think this time around I am gonna do it like you never knew it. Oh, I'll make it through. The time has come for me to break out of the shell. I have to shout that I am coming out. I'm coming out. I want the world to know.
Welcome to the show, Never Too Late Ever, where we focus on making your next chapter the best chapter ever. I am your host, Lorraine Hoving, and I am glad you are here today. This day will change your life. Open your heart, open your ears, and listen, and you will find a gem today, a treasure, something you can apply to your life today. And I am so thrilled because I so enjoyed our conversation last week with Naomi Carmona-Morshead. Welcome, Naomi.
Thank you. What a day to be awake and alive.
Absolutely. So let me tell you a little bit about Naomi. She is an adventure mountain climber and inspirational speaker. She is passionate about inspiring midlifers to overcome every obstacle. And if you heard her last week, you will know she has overcome many obstacles. So she is a great example. Co-authors of 4 books, including Reach for Greatness. She rocks the stage on 5 continents with empowering stories that relate to the struggles of overcoming physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual challenges. You can maintain peace in the midst of today's circumstances and be energized to rise up to every challenge. So the word that I was thinking of you today was resilience. I was thinking of that in your story. And I want you to start out this broadcast by telling our viewers what you believe is the single most important character quality that produces resilience, because resilience we need in a time of crisis. So what do you think is one of the character qualities maybe you possess that causes resilience in you?
Well, let me tell you a story.
I love your story. I love every story you tell.
This story took place in December of 2000, oh my goodness, 18. So it's been a year and a half. I was in Ecuador. I'm an adventure mountain climber, and it's my second time to Ecuador. And this volcano had become available to climb. It'd been erupting for 3 years, and the government opened it. And we were there 6 months later. We were so excited to climb it. It's a snow-capped volcano, and the height is 19,347 feet, which is 6 feet higher than Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, which we'd already climbed. So we're talking about very high elevation and very slow walking and a lot of training. And so we were in our training phase, and we were on a different mountain. And I was inside the bathroom, and I fell. And I thought I broke both knees and both wrists. And I screamed. I cannot even tell you the words that I said because that would not be nice. And I was not allowed to climb that night. Even though I thought I was okay, my ankle was twisted. And the team kept me off the mountains for 7 days. I was bereft. I had planned and planned. I'd already been to Ecuador once and missed the mountain. This was my next time. I was not going to miss the mountain. And yet I had to look for some resources, and I had to find out how I was going to do what I said I was going to do when I couldn't. So I had my x-rays taken. I found a chiropractor in Quito, Ecuador, and went to him a couple of times. And then we drove to the farmhouse, and my team got all organized and drove off without me. They're going to be gone for 24 hours while I'm sitting in this cabin watching the clouds move across the mountain. And I cannot tell you how much I cried, how much I could not function. I could barely eat. I was bereft.
Yeah.
And I did not feel resilience at all. But I was determined to find a way. So I kept praying. I kept thinking. I kept asking myself questions. I could barely walk. That's true. And I had to go up and down stairs to get to the dining room. And so when the team came back, they were exhilarated. They had reached the summit. They saw the sunrise. I mean, they did everything that I wanted to do. So we're driving back to Quito, and I said to myself, I have to ask. I just have to ask. And I said, I know this is the end of the trip, but is there any way I can stay over? Because I want to climb Cotopaxi.
Right.
And it got really quiet in the Jeep. And I was like, uh-oh, they're going to say no. They're going to say, no, she's crazy. And they said, well, there's this man coming who's 74, and he's going to attempt it for the 4th time, and we're going to have him sleep on the mountain, which no one's done in 7 years. So if you're willing to climb up, sleep, and then climb the second part, we could consider that. And so on the 8th day, I started climbing. I actually was like an hour and a half faster than that man. So I was thinking, oh, I'm okay, I'm good. And we got up to the tent area, and it was 18,300 feet. And it was not an easy climb. But it was brilliant that day. Beautiful, beautiful day. And we got in the tent and went to sleep. And we were going to get up at midnight to climb to the top. And at midnight, they didn't wake us up. And then at 2:30, they woke us up. And they go, the wind is really strong. Let's wait till 4:30. At 4:30, we woke up, and the wind was still too strong. It was going to push us off the mountain. In fact, it was blowing the tent. We thought the tent was going off the mountain, and we thought we were safe, but it didn't feel that way. So believing and being resilient in the sense that I trained so much, my body said, I'm doing it. But they said no. So I got up a couple of times in the night. I felt the wind. It was really hard to, do what you have to do in the middle of the night on a icy mountain with wind blowing on you. But I realized that I could be resilient in my heart, but it didn't mean I was going to get to the summit.
Right.
So at 5:30, I got out. I'd already eaten, and it took about an hour for them to take camp down. So that whole hour, I just walked around that part of the mountain. There was icicles and beauty. The clouds were moving. I was taking pictures, and I'd never had that chance before. Always before, it was the rush to the top in midnight with a little light lamp, and then rush down to get down below before the avalanches start. And this day, I got to see the mountain. And in my desire to climb to the top, I got much more. Because while I didn't reach the top, I reached the summit for me. And my summit and my pictures are better than all the rest of my team, because I got to see what they could never see because they were so tired after walking 12 hours.
Right.
And so I got to sleep. I got to walk down the mountain hurriedly. We still want to get down before the avalanches come. But that resilience to say, I'm staying over. I mean, my husband is going back to Los Angeles. So I'm in Quito by myself. I have to climb the mountain by myself, fly home by myself, pack my stuff with a torn ankle. And it really, because I climbed the mountain, it took me 6 months to recover the ankle. But the resilience part, the character of being certain that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that's what I think we have to do little by little. I didn't climb that mountain running. I climbed that mountain step by step. And sometimes my guide, and I had to have a private guide for that. I had to pay extra to have a private guide to climb up the mountain to sleep in a tent at minus 12 degrees with 35-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, I paid for that.
Right.
And sometimes it costs.
Yeah.
It costs. But the miracle really is in the pictures. The pictures that I took, how I feel today, knowing I got exactly where I was supposed to be, that builds up my courage, my perseverance, and that shows the resilient spirit I have, that I'm going to ask, and I'm going to focus on what I think I'm supposed to do until it changes.
Love it. How old were you at that time, Naomi?
Last year I was 64 and a half.
You are amazing. So, it takes an athlete to go up those mountains. What ever caused you, if you were non-athletic before, what caused you to be a mountain climber? Why was that something you were fascinated about? Because 99% of us out there are not ever going to be a mountain climber. So what is it that caused you to want to conquer these mountains? And then I want you to talk a little bit about taking the tallest freestanding mountain in Africa. You have climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. So can you let us know that, and what caused you to want to do this, and what keeps you going at it?
Well, let me ask you a question. Were you an athlete as a child, or did you participate in any kind of group sports?
A little, but I wasn't very good.
So whatever you did, what age were you? Whatever you did, soccer, baseball, football, whatever.
I was probably 9. I loved floor hockey as a child, so I was probably 8 or 9 when I did that. And then I did a little bit of volleyball, but not good, at 12 or 13.
Okay, so you just painted a really clear picture for us, because when I was 9, or actually just turned 10, I had my open heart surgery, and my doctor did not give me any freedom until I was 15. So at 15, I did my first group sports. At 15, I ran my first mile. And so having missed out on all of that kind of activity is it's a brilliant loss, and it's
Right.
a brilliant gain to make a decision to reverse that. And so when my husband died, he died from disease. And then about 2.5 years later, I met a man whose wife had died from disease. And we made a pact that neither of us are going to die from disease. So we started looking for one thing to do differently every year, that we could be consistent over time to cause our bodies to stay healthy and be more healthy. And that's what he started doing. Is he got the idea to climb higher every year. And so he was doing that. And one day we were at Pikes Peak in Colorado, which is one of the highest mountains in United States, the southern, well, not the southern, but not Alaska, continental United States. And he told me he wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And I go, oh, I want to go. And he goes, oh, no, honey. No. You don't understand. You're a heart patient. I go, I know. And he said, well, Mount Kilimanjaro, it's the height where jet fighters fly. I go, cool. He goes, no, honey. You don't understand. The oxygen's really low there, and your heart needs extra oxygen, not more than I do, but in a way it does. And so, no. I said, well, what if my doctor says I can go? And he said, well, why don't you just ask him? That was in September, and I did not get approval until January. And in January, I went to the doctor and I said, I'm going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in September. Do you see any reason why I shouldn't? And he started laughing. He goes, I want to go with you. And then he started looking at my text, and all the things we've been doing for 10 years were showing up in my heart. My heart was stronger. It was not getting worse. It was staying consistent. And he said, after looking at my last 10 years, because I'd been with him 10 years, he kept being amazed because he'd never done exactly that kind of looking. And he goes, you know what? There's no reason at all why you can't climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And his faith and his belief in me caused me to get my husband to train me 8 mountains in 8 months, each one higher, each one longer, each one harder in different ways, so that we both summited together 19,341 feet in September 2015.
Wow.
That's 5 years ago. Now, that's not all. Because of my resilience and because of my training, I got on a rock at the top of the mountain and I jumped 1 foot higher than everybody else. So you're the only one, well, I'm the only one that can say I've been to 19,342 feet, because I decided that I was going to be just a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So what's in your life that you need to be just a little bit more? And could it be 1 foot or 1 inch? Could it be 100 steps? Or could it be 30 steps? Whatever it takes to move forward and climb, because we can outwit every opportunity that thinks it's a problem, that thinks it's an obstacle. We can change it into an opportunity to be just a little bit more.
Right. And I like the word outwit. Outwit every opportunity. That is a beautiful story. And I like how how it began, because you and your husband wanted